Captain Taho Kim stood on the bridge of the Haeyang asterisk, his eyes fixed on the vast emptiness of space. The year was 2078, and humanity had spread to Mars and Europa, but had never found other life among the stars. "Another quiet day," he said, rubbing his tired eyes. The Haeyang asterisk was a research ship currently patrolling near Neptune. Its mission was simple: look for resources, map space, and keep watch. The crew of 30 had been in deep space for 3 months now. Jisoo Park sat at the communications station. Her job was to listen for signals from Earth or the colonies, but today her equipment picked up something else. "Captain," she called, her voice tense, "I'm getting a signal. It's not one of ours." Taho moved quickly to her station. "Are you sure?" Jisoo nodded. "Yes, sir. The pattern is too regular to be natural, but it doesn't match any human codes." The bridge grew quiet. Everyone knew what this might mean. "Can you trace it?" Taho asked. "Working on it now," Jisoo said, her fingers moving across her screen. "It's coming from beyond Neptune's orbit." Taho turned to his pilot. "Da-jung, set a course. Let's find out what's sending that signal." The Haeyang asterisk changed direction, moving deeper into the outer solar system. The crew was a mix of excited and scared. After all these years of searching, could this really be first contact? Hours later, they saw it. A massive ship, at least 10 times larger than the biggest Earth vessel. It was smooth and dark, with strange patterns glowing on its surface. "All stations, alert status," Taho ordered. "Jisoo, keep trying to decode that signal." Hyun-Woo Lee, the ship's linguist, joined Jisoo at her station. Together they worked to understand the alien message. "It's mathematical," Hyun-Woo said after an hour. "They're sending prime numbers, then simple equations. I think they're trying to establish basic communication." Taho nodded. "Respond with the next numbers in their sequences. Show them we understand." As they worked, the alien ship came closer. Now the crew could see it clearly on their screens. Its design was like nothing humans had built before. It seemed to flow rather than be constructed, with sections that moved in strange ways. "We're getting a new signal," Jisoo said suddenly. "It's different, more complex." Hyun-Woo studied it. "I think they're trying to establish language now. They've moved from math to concepts." Over the next few hours, a simple translation system began to form. The aliens called themselves the Orcs. They claimed to be explorers and traders, seeking peaceful contact with new species. "They want to meet," Hyun-Woo said. "They're asking for coordinates to our main world." Taho sent a message to Earth Command, explaining everything. The response came quickly: "Maintain contact, but share no details about Earth yet." A diplomatic team would be sent. The Orcs were patient. They shared images of their species, tall beings with smooth skin and 4 arms. They showed pictures of their home world and other planets they had visited. "They seem peaceful," Jisoo said hopefully. "Maybe," Taho replied. "But we should be careful. Space is vast and dangerous. We know nothing about them." Earth governments called emergency meetings. Within days, a unified response was prepared, and a welcome committee was formed. Humanity would meet the Orcs with open arms but ready defenses. That night, Taho recorded in his personal log, "Today marks the greatest moment in human history. First contact. The Orcs seem advanced and peaceful. They say they want friendship and trade. They came with extended hands. We never thought to check for claws." He closed his log and looked out at the alien ship floating nearby. Something about it made him uneasy. It was too perfect, too prepared, as if they had done this many times before. The Orcs had given humanity their first glimpse of alien life. But Taho couldn't shake the feeling that they were hiding their true nature behind friendly signals and pretty pictures. The first roar was theirs, gentle and welcoming. For now, 6 months had passed since first contact. Earth had welcomed the Vorax with open arms. A huge space station named Harmony now orbited the moon, built for meetings between humans and aliens. Ambassador Du Yun Kang led the human diplomatic team. She was smart and careful, chosen by all Earth nations to speak for humanity. Today, she walked through Harmony Station with her aide, Han Gil Choi. The medical technology they shared has cured 3 diseases already, Han Gil said, reading from his tablet. People are calling the Vorax saviors. Du Yun nodded, but did not smile. Yes, they give us gifts. But never weapons tech, never space drives, never anything that would make us stronger. They entered the main meeting hall where Vorax Ambassador Kovac waited. The alien stood nearly 8 feet tall, with 4 arms and smooth, pale skin. Its eyes were large and black. Ambassador Kang, Kovac said in its strange, musical voice, "A pleasure to meet again." Du Yun bowed slightly. Ambassador Kovac, we thank you for the medical technology. It has helped many people. We are happy to share with our new friends, Kovac said. Soon we will offer more gifts. After the meeting, Du Yun and Han Gil returned to the human section of the station. Something feels wrong, Han Gil said quietly. The numbers don't match. What numbers? Du Yun asked. The Vorax told us they have 20 ships in our system, but military scans show at least 30. And some of their ships keep moving behind Jupiter where we can't see them. Later that day, Du Yun met with Yun Ji-baek, Earth's top military strategist. They sat in a secure room that the Vorax could not listen to. They are building outposts across our solar system, Yun Ji said, showing a map. Here, near Mars. Here, on several moons. They say these are for scientific research. You don't believe them, Du Yun said. No, the outposts have powerful energy readings, more than needed for research. Yun Ji's face was grim, and strange things are happening. A lab on Mars was damaged last week. Nobody knows how. And 3 top scientists have gone missing. Du Yun frowned. I will speak to Kovac about this. When confronted, Kovac seemed sad. Ambassador, these are just accidents, and your scientists probably made mistakes in their records. We are here as friends. That evening, the United Earth Council held an emergency vote. Some members wanted to limit Vorax access to Earth. Others believed in the friendship. We need their technology, one counselor argued. They've helped us so much already. But at what cost? Another asked. In the end, the vote was clear. Continue diplomatic efforts. The Vorax were too valuable as allies. Late that night, Han Gil worked alone in his office. He had discovered something in the Vorax communications. Using a translation program, he found hidden messages between Vorax ships. Collection to begin. Specimens. Ready for harvest. The words made Han Gil's blood run cold. He started sending a message to Du Yun when his door opened. A tall figure entered, not a Vorax, but a human working for them. Han Gil tried to send his warning, typing quickly. They're not here for peace. There. The next morning, Du Yun found Han Gil's body in his office. His data tablet was missing. Blood covered the half-sent message on his screen. Du Yun's hands shook as she called security. When they arrived, she looked out the window at the massive Vorax ships hovering near Earth. Their true purpose was becoming clear. The medical technology, the friendly meetings, the gifts, all of it was a mask. A way to get close, to study humans, to prepare. The first roar had been gentle, designed to lull humanity into trust. But behind it, teeth were being sharpened. The attack came at dawn. All across the solar system, Vorax ships appeared from hiding places. The massive armada that had been hiding behind Jupiter now moved toward Earth. Thousands of ships, more than anyone had imagined. On Earth, defense systems failed. Computer screens went black. Weapons would not fire. The Vorax had put secret doors in all the systems they had helped humans build. Captain Taeho Kim was returning from a patrol when the attack started. His ship, the Hayang Asterisk, watched helplessly as Moonbase was hit. "Turn us around," Taiho ordered. "Full speed away from Earth." "Sir," his pilot asked, shocked. "But our families. We can't help them by dying." Taiho said, "We need to survive. To fight back later." The Hayang Asterisk was one of the few human ships to escape. As they fled, the crew watched their screens in horror. Mars colony was fighting back, but was cut off from help. Europa base sent one desperate message before going silent. On every channel, the Voraks broadcast their message. "Humans of Earth, your resources now belong to the Voraks Empire. Your bodies will be harvested for biological materials. Resistance is pointless. We have done this to 47 species before you." Deep under the Pacific Ocean, Admiral Jin Ho-yoon gathered what was left of Earth's military in the hidden AEGIS command center. "Report," he ordered. "Sir, we've lost contact with 80% of our forces," an officer said. "The Voraks have troops landing in major cities. Our weapons don't work against their shields." Jin Ho's face was stone. "And our space forces? Almost all destroyed. A few ships escaped, including the Hayang Asterisk." Hyun-woo Lee, who had been transferred to AEGIS after first contact, studied Voraks communications. "Admiral," he said, "I've translated more of their messages. This is what they do. They find worlds, pretend to be friendly, then attack. They've been doing this for thousands of years. They've never met humans before," Jin Ho said quietly. On captured space stations, military officer Yoon Ji-baek watched the Voraks take control. She hid with a small group of survivors, sending coded messages when possible. "They're rounding up humans," she reported to AEGIS, "loading them onto ships. Some are never seen again." Voraks landing craft entered Earth's atmosphere, targeting major cities. Their troops marched through streets, capturing humans who couldn't escape. Their technology was far beyond anything humanity had. Their armor could stop bullets. Their weapons could melt buildings. Ambassador Du Yun Kang had escaped from Harmony Station when the attack began. Now she hid in the ruins of Seoul with other survivors. "We trusted them," someone cried. "We welcomed them. And now we fight them," Du Yun said firmly. "We were fooled, but we are not beaten." A week after the attack began, Captain Taiho's Hayang Asterisk reached the asteroid belt. They hid among the rocks, watching Vorak ships pass by. "What now, Captain?" his crew asked. "Now we become hunters," Taiho said. "We hit them when they don't expect it. We learn their weaknesses. We survive." Admiral Jin Ho stood in the AEGIS command center, looking at the world map. Red dots showed Vorak's controlled areas. There were too many to count. "They think they've won," he told his officers. "They think this is over, but they've never faced humans before. They don't know what we're capable of." He looked at the few green dots on the map, human resistance points. "The first roar was theirs," Jin Ho said. "They've been doing this for millennia, but they've never met humans before, and we're just getting started." Outside, Vorak ships filled the skies. Their roar had been heard across the solar system. But it would not be the last sound in this war. 1 year had passed since the Voraks attack. Earth's great cities were now under alien control. Humans were kept in camps, waiting to be processed, but not all hope was lost. Deep beneath the ruins of Old Seoul, Sun My-ryu led the largest resistance group on the Korean peninsula. Today, she moved through underground tunnels with her team. "The Voraks are moving another transport ship tonight," she told her fighters. "We hit it fast, free our people, and disappear." Sun Mai had been a teacher before the invasion. Now she was a warrior. Her group had freed hundreds of humans from Voraks camps. In space, Captain Taiho's ship Hayang Asterisk had become a ghost. They appeared suddenly to attack Voraks supply ships, then vanished into the darkness of space. The Voraks called the Hayang Asterisk, the Phantom. and feared its attacks. Another successful hit, Taiho told his crew after destroying a Vorax fuel ship. Now we disappear again. In a hidden lab beneath the mountains, scientist Jayan Kwan studied a dead Vorax soldier. She had been working for months, trying to find a weakness in the enemy. "Look at this," she told her assistant, pointing to a strange tissue in the Vorax brain. "This isn't like anything on Earth." Jayan discovered something amazing. The Vorax had a group mind. They were connected to each other through quantum links in their brains. They thought as one, felt as one, and fought as one. "This could be their weakness," Jayan said excitedly. "If we could break this connection, they might not be able to function." But before she could finish her work, alarms sounded. The Vorax had found her lab. "Save the research," Jayan shouted as her team rushed to grab equipment. "It's our only hope." Just as the Vorax broke through the doors, Sunmi's resistance fighters appeared from hidden tunnels. They'd fought off the aliens long enough for Jayan to escape with her vital research. Meanwhile, Admiral Jinho operated from the last free underwater base in the Pacific Ocean. He coordinated resistance groups worldwide, using secret communications. "Sunmei has rescued the scientist," an officer reported. "They're heading to the safe zone now." "Good," Jinho said. "And what news from space?" "Captain Taiho reports the Vorax are building something big near Mars. He's trying to get closer to see what it is." In orbit around Earth, Ambassador Du Yun had been captured months ago, but she had tricked her captors into thinking she was helping them. In reality, she was gathering information. Late at night, she snuck into the Vorax command center on their main ship. She copied their star maps and plans onto a small device. What she found was shocking. Earth was just one stop on a long route. The Vorax traveled through the galaxy, finding planets with life, harvesting them, and moving on. They had been doing this for millions of years, and they always followed the same schedule. When Sun Mai and Jayan finally met at the resistance base, they shared their discoveries. "They have a group mind," Jayan explained to the resistance leaders. "If we can break it, we might have a chance." "And they're on a schedule," Sun Mai added, showing Du Yun's stolen information. "They plan to finish harvesting Earth in 6 months and then move on." Admiral Jinho joined by secure video link. "Then we have 6 months to stop them." Jayan stood up and pointed to her research. "I think I know how. They think as one. They hear as one. And they could all die as one." For the first time in a year, hope flickered in the eyes of Earth's defenders. The Vorax had roared first, but humanity was finding its voice. And soon, Earth would roar back. Far from Earth, hidden among the asteroids, a secret human base floated in the darkness of space. Its code name was Thunder. Inside, humans worked day and night on their last hope against the Vorax. Project Director Min Ho Song walked through the main lab, checking on progress. He had been a university professor before the invasion. Now he led the most important project in human history. "How is the device coming along?" he asked a team of engineers. "It's working better than expected," one replied. "Thanks to Dr. Kwan's research, we understand the Vorax mind link now." The device they were building looked simple, a metal sphere with glowing parts, but inside was very complex technology. If it worked, it could break the quantum connection between all Vorax at once. "We need more parts from Vorax ships," Min Ho told his team. "Captain Taiho is bringing some today." Hours later, the Hayang docked at Thunder Base. Taiho and his crew carried boxes of parts taken from destroyed Vorax ships. "These power cells are from their newest fighters," Taiho explained. "They should have the components you need." Min Ho nodded. "Thank you, Captain. How are things out there?" Taiho's face was grim. "Bad. The Vorax are stepping up their harvesting. More camps, more ships taking humans away. We're running out of time." In another part of the base, Hyun Woo Lee studied Vorax communications. After months of work, he had cracked more of their language. "Director Song," He called out when Minho passed by. I found something important in their messages. Hyunwoo showed Minho his screen. They keep talking about something they fear. They call it the severing. I think they're afraid of having their mind link broken. Minho's eyes widened. That means our plan might work. They fear it because it's possible. Back on Earth, Sun's resistance fighters prepared for their biggest action yet. They would attack Vorax control centers in 20 cities at the same time. This isn't about winning, Sun Mai told her fighters. It's about creating confusion. We need to keep the Vorax busy while our scientists finish their work. Admiral Jin Ho's underwater forces were also getting ready. His submarines and underwater bases had survived because the Vorax focused on land and space. When Sun Mi's attack begins, he told his officers, "We will emerge and strike at coastal Vorax bases, hit hard, cause damage, then disappear again." On the Vorax command ship, Du Yan was in great danger. A Vorax officer had become suspicious of her. She needed to escape with the final pieces of information she had gathered. When alarms sounded because of a small meteor hitting the ship, Du Yan took her chance. She stole a small shuttle and fled toward Earth. "This is Ambassador Kang," she radioed once she was far enough away. "I have information about the Vorax Central Command vessel. It's coming to our system in 1 month." At Thunder Base, Minho activated the prototype device for the first time. The test was done on a captured Vorax soldier kept in a secure room. When the device turned on, the Vorax fell to the ground, screaming. For a few seconds, it seemed confused and lost. Then it recovered. "It works," Minho said with excitement. The link was broken, but only for a short time, and it adapted quickly. Taiho looked through the glass at the Vorax soldier. "So the device needs to be stronger." "Not just stronger," Minho said. "We need to hit their central brain, the source of all connections. And for that, we need to get this device onto their Supreme Harvester when it arrives." "A suicide mission," Taiho said quietly. Minho nodded. "Yes, but it's our only hope. The first test worked. Now we build the real weapon." The race against time had begun. The Vorax were coming to finish their harvest of Earth, but humanity was preparing to fight back in a way the Vorax had never faced before. The sky over Earth darkened as the Vorax Supreme Harvester arrived in the solar system. It was not a ship. It was like a small planet, massive and terrible, with thousands of smaller ships around it. "It's bigger than we thought," Admiral Jinho said as he watched it on the screens in his underwater base. Then the alarm started. "Sir, the Vorax have found our location. They're attacking." Water rushed into the command room as Vorax weapons hit the base. Jinho grabbed essential data and led his people to escape pods. "Get to the backup base," he ordered. "We fight on." As Jinho's base fell, resistance cells around the world faced similar attacks. The Vorax were suddenly smarter, more focused. They found hidden bases that had been safe for months. Sunni's group barely escaped when their hideout under Seoul was discovered. "How did they find us?" she asked as they ran through old subway tunnels. "They knew exactly where we were." In space, the Hayang was on a mission to scout the Supreme Harvester. Captain Taho took his ship closer to the giant vessel, using asteroids for cover. "Look at the size of that thing," his pilot whispered. "It's like a moving city." Suddenly, 5 Vorax fighter ships appeared behind them. "Evasive action," Taho shouted. The Hayang tried to escape, but Vorax weapons tore into its hull. Systems failed. The engine room was hit. "Get to the escape pods," Taho ordered. "I'll set the ship to self-destruct and join you." As his crew escaped, Taiho programmed the Hayang to ram a Vorax ship. He reached the last pod just in time. On Mars, Eun-ji Budik and her resistance fighters had captured a small Vorax data center. What she found there gave her hope. "Admiral," she radioed to Jinho at his new base. I found old Vorax records. They've never faced a species that stayed united during invasion. All their previous conquests fought each other even as the Vorax attacked them. Humans are different, Jinho replied. We come together in crisis. At Thunder Base, Minho and Jaein worked frantically to finish the quantum disruption device. Time was running out. I've improved the design, Jaein said, but there's still a problem. The device needs to be at the heart of their command vessel to affect all Vorax, which means someone has to deliver it, Minho said grimly, and stay with it to activate it. Jaein nodded. A one-way trip. On Earth, the Vorax stepped up their harvesting. More humans were taken each day. Cities that had held out now fell. The resistance was being crushed everywhere. Admiral Jinho gathered what remained of Earth's military leaders for a final plan. The Thunder device is our only hope, he told them via secure link. But we need to create a diversion big enough to let our team reach the Supreme Harvester. How many ships do we have left? A general asked. Not enough, Jinho admitted. But we have something the Vorax don't expect. What's that? Sunmei asked. The will to sacrifice everything, Jinho said. They expect us to try to survive. But we're going to throw everything we have at them. Every ship, every weapon, every soldier, not to win, but to give our team a chance to reach that vessel. He looked at the grim faces on his screen. We're not fighting for victory anymore. We're fighting for revenge, for justice, and for every species that came before us. Today, humanity roars back. All around Earth, the remaining human forces prepared for what might be their final battle. Ships were readied. Weapons were checked. Pilots said goodbye to loved ones. Against the massive Vorax fleet, they seemed tiny and hopeless. But sometimes, the smallest creatures have the loudest roars. The plan was desperate but simple. While Earth forces attacked the Vorax fleet as a diversion, a small team would sneak onto the Supreme Harvester with the Thunder device. In a small room at the backup base, Captain Taeho looked at his team. Ambassador Du Yun, Scientist Jaein, and Linguist Hyunwoo. Once we're inside, Taeho said, pointing to a rough map of the alien vessel, we move to the central hub. That's where their group mind is strongest. I can guide us through their communication systems, Hyunwoo said. I know enough of their language now. Do Yun checked the stolen Vorax uniforms they would wear. These will help us blend in, but not for long. Their soldiers can sense each other. Jaein carefully packed the Thunder device. It looked like a metal sphere with glowing blue lines. Remember, this has to reach the central brain chamber. Nothing else matters. On Earth, Sunmi moved through the ruins of cities, gathering fighters for the final attack. Hit them everywhere, she told her people. Make noise, draw attention, give our friends in space the chance they need. Admiral Jinho and Director Minho prepared the last human fleet, 23 ships of different sizes, some barely working. This will be our final stand, Jinho told the pilots. Not to win, but to distract. The attack began at dawn. Human ships launched from hidden bases on Earth, Mars, and the moons of Jupiter. They attacked Vorax vessels from all sides. On the ground, resistance fighters hit Vorax bases and patrols. The Vorax were surprised by the sudden wild attack. They had thought humans were nearly beaten. Now they faced attacks everywhere. In the confusion, a small Vorax shuttle approached the Supreme Harvester. Inside were Taeho and his team, wearing stolen Vorax armor. We're being scanned, Hyunwoo warned as they neared the massive vessel. Send the codes, Taeho ordered. Du Yun transmitted the security codes she had stolen months ago. For a long moment, nothing happened. Then the docking bay opened. It worked, she whispered. We're in. They landed among hundreds of Vorax ships. Soldiers moved everywhere, preparing for battle. The team stayed together, heads down, moving quickly. This way, Hyunwoo said, reading Vorax signs on the walls. The central sections are deeper in. They passed through long corridors that seemed partly mechanical, partly alive. The walls pulsed with strange light. The air was thick and hard to breathe. "I don't think this ship was built," Jayan said quietly. "I think it grew." Outside, the battle raged. Human ships fought bravely, but were being destroyed one by one. Jinho's command vessel took heavy damage but kept fighting. "Keep their attention on us," he ordered. "Every minute we give Taiho's team matters." Inside the Supreme Harvester, alarms suddenly blared. A voice spoke in the Vorax language. "They know we're here," Hanmu translated. "They're looking for intruders." "Run," Taiho ordered. They sprinted through the corridors as Vorax soldiers appeared behind them. Du Yan fired her stolen Vorax weapon, hitting 2 soldiers. Taiho led them down a side passage. "The central hub should be just ahead," Hyunwoo said, checking a small device with stolen maps. They turned a corner and stopped. Before them was a massive chamber. The walls were covered with pulsing tissue. In the center floated what looked like a giant brain, glowing with energy. "That's it," Jayan whispered. "That's their central mind, the source of all connections." But between them and the brain stood dozens of Vorax guards. And behind them, a massive Vorax unlike any they had seen before. 3 times larger than normal, with 6 arms and a crown-like growth on its head. "The Sovereign," Du Yan said in shock. "The ruler of all Vorax." The giant alien looked directly at them. When it spoke, its voice was deep and terrible. "You are not the first to reach this place," it said in perfect human language. "All others perished in despair." Taiho gripped the thunder device tightly. They had reached their target, but the hardest part was still ahead. The Vorax Sovereign towered above them, its 6 arms moving slowly in the air. The guards pointed their weapons at Taiho and his team. "I have lived for 10,000 years, the Sovereign said. "I have watched 1,000 worlds fall. Your Earth is nothing special." Do Yun stepped forward. Her years as ambassador had taught her how to talk to powerful beings. "If we are nothing special, why do you fear us?" The Sovereign's eyes narrowed. "Fear? We do not fear prey." "Then why did you attack us so quickly?" Du Yan asked. "Why not wait longer? You were afraid of what humans might become." While Du Yan kept the Sovereign talking, Hyunwoo whispered to Jayan, "Can you see the connection points around the brain? The thunder device needs to link to those." Jayan nodded slightly. She was studying the giant brain, looking for the best place to put their device. Outside the Supreme Harvester, the battle was going badly for humans. Most of their ships were destroyed. Admiral Jinho's flagship took heavy damage. Engine room hit. An officer shouted, "We're losing power." Jinho looked at the screens showing the massive Vorax weapon platforms. An idea formed in his mind. "Set course for that platform," he ordered. "Full speed." "Sir, that's a collision course." "Exactly," Jinho said calmly. "Evacuate all crew to escape pods. I'll stay to guide the ship." On the Supreme Harvester, the Sovereign continued talking to Du Yan. "We have consumed thousands of species," it said. "Some fought harder than others. All fell. But I will offer you a choice that I rarely give." It raised one massive hand. "Join us. Become part of our collective. Your minds will live on within us, serving the greater Vorax Empire." "And if we refuse?" Taiho asked. "Then you will be harvested like all the others, your bodies processed, your world stripped bare." While they talked, Jayan whispered to Taiho, "I know how to connect the device, but there's a problem. It needs a guide, a living mind to direct it through their network." "What does that mean?" Taiho asked quietly. "Someone must connect physically to the device. Their consciousness will be scattered across the Vorax network. They won't come back." Outside, Jinho's ship, empty except for him, raced toward the Vorax weapons platform. Vorax ships fired at him, but he didn't change course. "This is for Earth," he said as his ship crashed into the platform. The explosion was massive. The chain reaction destroyed 3 Vorax ships and damaged many more. For a moment, the Vorax fleet was in confusion. Back in the brain chamber, the Sovereign suddenly flinched. "What have you done?" "That was just one man," Du Yen said. "One human willing to die for others. There are billions of us." The Sovereign roared in anger. "Kill them all." As the guards moved forward, Taiho grabbed the thunder device from Jan. "Get them out of here," he told Du Yen. "I'll connect the device." Taiho, "No," Jayan cried. "You'll die." "Maybe," he said with a small smile. "But my mind will scatter through their network, a human ghost in their machine." He pushed them toward a side door. "Go. I'll finish this." As Du Yan pulled Jayan and Hyunwoo away, Taiho turned to face the Sovereign. He held the thunder device high. "You should have feared us more," he said. Before the guards could stop him, Taiho connected himself to the device. Pain shot through his body as his mind linked to the machine. But he kept moving, pushing past guards, heading straight for the central brain. The Sovereign screamed orders, but it was too late. Taiho reached the brain and slammed the device into one of the connection points. As his consciousness began to flow into the Vorax network, Taiho thought of Earth, of his family, of his crew. "The first roar was theirs," he whispered. "This last one is for Earth, for humanity, for every species they've silenced." The thunder device activated, glowing brighter and brighter. Taiho's body fell, but his mind spread through the Vorax network like wildfire. And everywhere, across space, the Vorax began to scream. Across the solar system, the Vorax fleet suddenly stopped moving. Ships hung in space, neither attacking nor defending. Some crashed into each other. Others drifted aimlessly. Inside the Supreme Harvester, the Sovereign fell to its knees, screaming. The giant brain pulsed with blue light as Taiho's consciousness spread through the Vorax network. "What's happening to them?" Hyunwoo asked, as Do Yeon pulled him and Jaein toward an escape pod. "The hive mind is breaking," Jaein said. "They're experiencing something they've never felt before, being alone in their own heads." They reached an escape pod and launched away from the massive vessel. Below them, Earth still burned, but the Vorax attack had stopped. "Taiho did it," Du Yeon whispered, watching the Supreme Harvester through the pod's window. "He broke their connection." On Earth, Sunmai noticed the change immediately. The Vorax soldiers fighting her resistance group suddenly stopped. Some fell to the ground. Others stood frozen, weapons hanging loose in their hands. "Now," she shouted to her fighters, "take their weapons, secure the area." All around the world, the same thing was happening. Vorax troops collapsed or wandered in confusion. Human resistance fighters quickly took control, capturing aliens who for the first time in their history were thinking as individuals, not as a collective. In space, the remaining human ships watched in amazement as the Vorax fleet became still. "The thunder device worked," Minho said from his command ship. "The quantum link is broken." Do Yen's escape pod reached Minho's ship. She explained what had happened, how Taeho had connected himself to the device and spread his consciousness through the Vorax network. "He sacrificed himself to save us all," she said, tears in her eyes. "Perhaps not completely," Jaein said. "His body is gone, but his mind, his consciousness might still exist within their network." Weeks passed. Humans reclaimed their world. The processing camps were emptied. Cities began to rebuild. The surviving Vorax, now individuals without their hive mind, were mostly confused and lost. Some became violent, but most simply wanted to understand what had happened to them. A council of human leaders gathered in the rebuilt headquarters in Seoul to decide the future. Admiral Jinho, who had survived his ship's destruction by escaping in a pod at the last moment, addressed the group. "We must expand beyond our solar system," he said. "There may be other threats out there. We need to be ready." Sun Mai, now chosen as Earth's new leader, agreed. We will rebuild, but we will also remember. Remember those we lost, and what we fought for. In a lab nearby, Minho made an amazing discovery while studying captured Vorax technology. Look at this, he told Jayan, pointing to strange patterns in Vorax computer systems. These aren't random. These are human thought patterns. Jayan's eyes widened. Taiho. Pieces of him, Minho said. Fragments of his consciousness. He's still there, scattered through their technology. On the day they dedicated a memorial to those lost in the war, Sunmet stood before a crowd of survivors. Behind her was a statue showing the human hand reaching up to the stars. They thought our value was in our bodies, our resources, she said. They never understood that humanity's true worth lies in our spirit, in our capacity to stand together, to face extinction with defiance, and to roar back against the darkness. She looked up at the sky, where stars were beginning to appear in the evening light. The first roar was theirs. The last belonged to Earth. And now, the future belongs to all of us. Far above, orbiting silently, pieces of Vorax technology still functioned, and within them, fragments of Taiho's consciousness washed over the planet he had died to save. The Vorax had roared first, but Earth had roared last, and that roar would echo across the galaxy for generations to come.